Good morning. It's January the 20th. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, where were you the last 2 days? Why weren't you walking? Well, Wednesday I was busy and I just didn't. And yesterday I was busy, but I thought I was going to walk when I went over to meet my new doctor. And then I got a call and said that he wasn't going to be in. I guess he was sick, presumably. So I had to reschedule that. And as a result, I didn't walk because it screwed up my plans. And then this morning, of course, normally I would have walked around the lake, but I have to go downtown to a meeting, so I figured I would combine the walk with that. So it's another walk downtown, but when I head back, I'll walk a bit out of my way and maybe go down this side of the lake at least. So there's a little bit of lake walk in there today since it's Friday. But this first part is just a 20-minute walk down to the Hotel Saskatchewan, where I'm meeting with a fellow publisher to talk about publishing stuff. Hello, trying to read that. Got to get a dark background. That's always the challenge here. Ebiya, Baya. Anyway, good morning. It's about minus 13 Celsius, so not bitterly cold, but chilly. Very pretty again. We got hoarfrost on the trees still, as you can see, looking down the alley there with the sun. Had a lot of hoarfrost recently. Last night it was foggy again, so last evening we were out at a Mexican restaurant I'd never been to for a kind of a business meet and greet thing through Alignable, which is like a business-oriented social media network that I have an account on. And that was good. It's called Agave, I think, is the name of the restaurant. And I'd never been there before. Well, I've been in the building before, but last time I was there, I think it was a Swiss Chalet, and that must have been 25 years ago, so it's been a while. It's not a Swiss Chalet now, and I think there was even a sports bar in there in the interim that I was never in, so. And this place has been there for a few years, but this is the first time we've been. There's a new house over here. I can't tell if anybody's working on it or not. I hear hammering, but it doesn't seem to be coming from here, but they've certainly made some more advancement in it. There's white stuff around the windows, whatever that means. Doesn't seem to be anybody working there now. And this very bright yellow dumpster here. I'm trying to read it. I can't read it. I need to find a darker background. And I need to keep moving, so I can't just stop. Maybe a little further up here I can manage. I think my screen's a little dim too for some reason. Well, probably because it's so bright out. Maybe against this tree I can read it. Oh, I have no idea. I have no idea what tuition is, graduate degrees, graduate schools. Even though my daughter may be going to graduate school soon, at the moment I don't know the cost, and it would depend on the school. And she may be going in England, so I don't have any answers to those questions. All I can do is show you what the city looks like. And this is what it looks like right now. On January the 20th. Just 2 months until the first day of spring. We're about 1 month past the start of winter, the official start of winter. It really started long before that, weather-wise. Oof. I think I'll be at the hotel at least twice next week. I'm meeting somebody else one day and I'm getting a haircut one day, so. As usual, my route downtown will be determined by how the lights treat me. Oh, somebody else said hello. Oh, Stefan, hello. Yesterday, I didn't really expect to spend all day on it, but I essentially did. I'm not going to make this light. I created the new cover art for one of the books I'm republishing through Shadowpaw Press. This one was originally published in French, Les Fantômes de Spiritwood, and now it's coming out in English as The Ghosts of Spiritwood. The first English edition will be coming out from Shadowpaw Press Reprise, and it's by Martine Noël-Moi, who's someone I know quite well, Regina author. French is her first language, but she speaks English, and so she did her own translation. And it's a ghost story about some kids who get trapped overnight in an abandoned school, and there's something spooky in the school. I wouldn't call it horror. It doesn't rise to that level of fear, but definitely a ghost story. So I had fun creating the cover. It's an amalgam of, well, I started with some AI generated art, and then I made some changes and tweaked things and came up with something I'm happy with. It was fun creating it. You can see it on the shadowpawpress.com website if you go there. Look under Reprise, you'll see The Ghosts of Spiritwood, and there's the cover art is there now. It'll be out next month, I think. Actual publication. I have a couple of things I'm considering now for Endless Sky Books, which is my hybrid publishing side, where authors invest in the book up front, pay the cost of having it published largely in exchange for a much higher share of the royalties. And that's actually what I'm going to be talking about at this meeting downtown. I'm going to find out a bit more about that from another hybrid publisher who kind of inspired me to do this in the first place. So we're going to talk about it. Well, since I got to cross here, we'll walk down this way to start with. And I have my computer with me, so I'll be writing on this musical script that I'm working on. I also had to do a manuscript evaluation this morning. The Saskatchewan Writers Guild offers a manuscript evaluation service where authors submit their manuscripts, and anonymously, a professional author editor will read them and give feedback. And so that's what I've written it. I haven't sent it in yet, but it's ready to go. I've done that a few times. They tend to send me the science fiction fantasy manuscripts for obvious reasons. Oh, let's walk over here just to be different. Oh, that's not a sidewalk. I thought it was. It's not. Can't walk through there. Apartment building over there. I think I'll keep going this way today. I have a poetry manuscript to edit and publish through Endless Sky Books. It'll be my first Endless Sky Books publication. Its contract is signed. It's a small beginning, but it's a beginning. I have the next book for Shadowpaw Press to finish editing. It'll be called it's called Small Reckonings. It's an award-winning historical novel. I just published Dolly Bird, also an award-winning historical novel, in a new edition. I'll officially announce that next week, but it is out. I'll go up one more this way. Fireside Bistro over there, restaurant. Going to be there for a German Wine Society event 2 or 3 weeks. My wife will be away, but I think I'll go because I got to eat somewhere. A winter wonderland kind of day for sure. The snow is looking tired. We haven't had fresh snow for a while, so our front yard, we get lots of rabbits, and the snow is entirely chewed up with their footprints now. It's been so long since we had fresh snow. It looks kind of old and tired. The snow does, not the rabbits. They may be old and tired too, I don't know. I'm surprised a couple of them. Okay, we'll go up here, because it's not a route I follow very often. Past the Williamson apartments here. Old apartments. Now we're headed north towards Victoria, which is where, of course, the Hotel Saskatchewan is. Well, let's go through here. I've never gone through here. This will take us to an alley here. Oh, and this is the back of the condo building that kind of the first one built by the developers that built the one where we bought a condo when we first got married. And we visited them here, and somebody here, and it's one reason we bought our condo is because we liked this development on the inside. That's Saskatchewan Government Insurance Building dead ahead, the gold one there. Let's go through here. I'd like to get back on the sidewalk. The alleyways are kind of chewed up and hard to walk on. That's an office building over there. Apartment building, one of the old ones over here. Again, you look down the end of the street, you can see the shining gold of the SGI building through the trees. Bartleman Apartments. Probably a high-end address when it first opened. I don't know what they're like inside. It has a substantial look to it, for sure. Where's the stop sign here? It's not going this way, it's going the other way, but... There's the hotel up there on our right. Or is this the condo building we first visited? I don't think so. Different developer. I could be wrong. It might have been it. This was the one we visited. Well, it probably is the same developer. They did a bunch down here back in the 90s. Old style apartment building there, but not as old as the Bartleman I just went by. Big trees. Look up, look way up. Cornwall Village, seniors, 50 plus seniors housing co-op. 50 plus. I'm 50 plus. I don't think of myself as a senior, not yet. Maybe I never will. But society will see me that way soon enough. 2 more years, I will officially be a senior citizen. Sometime in the next 2 or 3 years, I'll start getting Canada Pension whenever I decide to take it. That'll be a monthly check, which will subsidize everything else I do, basically. I don't get to retire, that's well established. I will write till I drop, probably. Hello, Bruce. No, I haven't listened to Ken Curtis. I haven't listened to Ken Curtis. I don't know why you want me to listen to Ken Curtis, but I haven't gotten around to it. I'm not running out of places to walk, but I can do it where it's convenient. Especially on weekdays. On weekends, at least in nice weather, I'm more likely to drive somewhere and make a point of walking somewhere special, but it's less likely that I'll do that in the wintertime. And when I'm busy, it's just the easiest thing to do is just go out my front door instead of going somewhere interesting. Well, not that out my front door isn't interesting, but you know what I mean. Somewhere more exotic, I guess. Canadian Red Cross over there. It's kind of an interesting building, that one. There's a spa on my right. 2001, a spa odyssey. They missed an opportunity there. And the very funnily named Saskatchewan Seniors Mechanism. I always thought that was an odd name. And Title's building over there with the Saskatchewan Sports Hall of Fame in it. I've been in this space a lot because there's a printing service in there that we've used. Sask Sports Culture and Recreation. Admin print services. If you're a non-profit, you can get stuff printed there at a reasonable price. So a lot of the organizations I've created things for, like Regina Lyric Musical Theatre and most recently Wascana Voices, that's where the printing was done. Alright, come around the corner. Well, if I remember, I'll check him out sometime, but I generally completely forget about it once I've done the walk. It doesn't carry over in my brain, so I'll try to remember. Alright, we'll be going up there. When I come out, I think I'll go down to Broad, all the way down to the lake and walk along the north side of the lake, just to get in a bit of a lake walk, as I normally do on Fridays. But that'll do this for now. And thanks for walking with me. I'll be back at some time. So, good afternoon. It is still January 20th. I am here in downtown Regina. The sky has turned blue. It's blue and sunny, so we're looking up Scarth Street here. And since I didn't walk around the lake this morning, I'm going to take a kind of a longer route home today. And we'll go all the way over to Broad Street, then down to the lake and along the north side of the lake before we head back. Again, that's looking up Scarth Street there, and a beautiful blue day. Looking down the other way. This is the Saskatchewan Power Building, Saskatchewan Power Corporation, SPC, SaskPower. Still under some kind of construction out here. They renovated the whole thing today. There used to be a fountain there, but I think it's gone.
I need to ask a question, please.
What?
How did we get into that building? Pay our bills?
I don't know.
That way, or is it around this corner?
I actually don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry. Just wanted to know how you get into the SaskPower building, and I don't know with all this construction work here. It's not obvious, that's for sure. Oof, slippery along here though. I don't know where they put the entrance to the building. Oh! Almost got me. Almost fell, but not quite. Right here on camera. You could have seen it here first. Hamilton, looking that way. This is Gulf Steakhouse, which always has this torch going out front of it. So much excitement already, and I've barely begun walking. This used to be the Assiniboia Club. Now it's Crave. Nice restaurant. Although I don't go to it very often, but I like it well enough when I do. Down another part of downtown. I don't walk down this way very often, and it is very pretty today with the sun shining, although the hoarfrost is melting as a result. It's the Ramada over there. Next to us here is the Motherwell building, which used to be an office building, but now it's condos. Rose Street. We're going all the way down here to Broad Street. It used to be called the Regina Inn, now it's the Doubletree. This is the rooftop restaurant here. Hi, Darla. Yes, it was a bit scary. But I did not go down, so, you know, all's well that ends well. We're on Broad Street. Okay, now we're going to walk all the way down Broad to the park, down by CBC, and further. It's quite a bit warmer than when I walked down. You can see how much melting there is on the street here. It's minus 13 when I walked down. I'd say it's a few degrees warmer than that now. Fon's Pizza here. This is the Diplomat, which is a long-running and nice steakhouse. There it is, the Diplomat. Part of the trouble with the almost fall is, of course, that I'm not watching my feet. as closely as I might if it were just me. Hi, James. Yeah, it's below freezing here, but supposed to be up around freezing tomorrow, I think. And then a lot colder coming in after that sometimes. So we've had a nice January so far. There is colder weather on the way. Not bitterly cold, but colder. I'm sure it's coming to Edmonton too, because it will get there first. Ethiopian restaurant over there. Salah. I've eaten there once or twice. Well, once anyway. Salam. Kind of surprised it's still going. But apparently there's a demand for an Ethiopian restaurant in Regina. We ate at a Mexican restaurant last night, Agave. First time I've been there. I don't know what their more exotic menu is like. We had something that had been pre-selected for us. So it's just, tortillas and toppings, basically. Roll your own fajitas. I remember when this was a computer store, at the moment it seems to still be empty. I remember buying computer stuff there back in my Commodore 64 days. CNIB is in here. Medical lab in here. When I come for blood tests, I sometimes come to this one, quite often to this one. Usually to this one. So 11 over there. General Hospital is about 3 blocks that way. So in here is Life Labs over there. All handy walking distance if I choose to walk. Good dim sum restaurant over there. See, I thought I'd be here yesterday, but didn't work out. I can jaywalk here. It's a one-way street, and there's nobody coming. Over here is where my new doctor's office will be. So I thought I was going to be over here yesterday, but then I got the phone call that my doctor had not come in. I haven't met him yet. He's my new doctor. My old doctor, Dr. McMillan, whom I've had since 1988, is retiring. So I felt fortunate to have somebody else that quickly I managed to find, thanks to a friend, to take me on as my sort of GP. Yeah, same here. Cooler air coming. But nice right now. So over there, the Broad Street Medical Clinic. There's a Shoppers Drug Mart there too. And unlike where Dr. McMillan is, it's a walking distance from my house if I choose to walk, or a short drive. Dr. McMillan's about a half hour, 45-minute walk from our house. I suppose if I walked half hour to 45 minutes, but I wouldn't very often do that as a walk. That apartment building has been there quite a while. Bright sun walking in this direction. These are all condos, I guess, townhouses over here. I've been in one. Know somebody that lives there, or used to anyway. Oh, perfect timing on the light change. This is a pretty new building here, condos. Is the bubble tea place still down here? Looks like it. And there, taken. Oh, no. No, I'd say it's gone. Still has the signs up. There's also like a construction sign on it. So something else seems to be going in there. There used to be a gift shop in here. It didn't last, unfortunately. So at the moment, all of these storefronts are empty. A Canadiana over there. Probably built in the 60s, I would guess, from the looks of it. This Lesieux Villa here, probably built in the 50s from the looks of it. That's probably quite an old house there, from the looks of it. It's definitely an old apartment building over there. I don't remember the details on it, but it was in my Historic Walks of Regina and Moose Jaw book. Published by Red Deer Press. This old house in the corner used to have a coffee shop in it, and I think it's got some sort of computer place in it. A computer clinic, it says, but it used to have a nice coffee shop in it. I'm going to carry on down this way a couple of more blocks and then turn right into the park. Here's the front of the old house. Well, there's the sound stage, part of the university campus originally. Sask Books is in there, Creative Saskatchewan, a few other things like that. It's very pretty right now with the hoarfrost over here. Can't really see the building, but trust me, it's over there. More old buildings over here I've walked by on occasion, but not today. Can't see a thing now. There's the soundstage. They completely gutted it, but they kept the exterior. It's an entirely new building with an old facade, basically. Probably has the same original steel beams, but other than that. CBC over here, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. I used to go there every week when I was doing the science column for the afternoon edition. Colin Brewer. These are new buildings, but they fit in nicely with the old ones, which look like that. That's an old one, and these are new ones. Another coffee shop in that corner, Naked Bean. Nice one. Stoplight here, but I don't have to worry about it because the road does not carry through. There's the Naked Bean on that corner. And if you go on down there, there's some seniors housing complex and some condos and townhouses and things. All of that was empty land when I moved here. Up to this building up here. It was all just an open field. Had a community garden in it. Well, I could cut through the snow like those footsteps, but I'm not going to. Going up to this corner, then I will turn right get away from the traffic and go down into the park to walk home the rest of the way. That's the CBC building. Hoarfrost with the sun shining through it. I started to say Canadian Red Cross, Canadian Blood Services, I guess it's called now. CNIB used to be in a building here, which was torn down. And there was supposed to be another building built here, but there's something a bit shady about the way that whole thing came together and it never got built, so it's just turned into open space again. Apartments over there. I've walked through several times. There's usually rabbits over there, but not going to go find out today. Maybe I'll walk over there again sometime soon. Okay, we were going to go this way into the park. There's no sidewalk here, so I'll have to walk on the street. Until I get across the path up here. That's the CBC over there. Looks like it's snowing, but that's just the hoarfrost falling off the tree. The lake is over that way. But I'm actually going to walk along over here. A little different path than I normally follow. Usually I'm down there, right next to the lake. Much quieter now that I'm away from Broad Street. Enough hoarfrost left that it's very pretty with the blue sky. And the sunshine. Once again, walking in a winter wonderland. Pretty spruce trees there. Of course, I'm carrying my computer, which I don't usually do when I'm walking over here. A bit of extra weight. There's the ledge over there through the trees, the dome of the legislative building. For some reason, there's a towel hanging in that tree. Odd. You can always tell we haven't had a lot of snow for a little while because the snow starts getting more and more worn with various animal tracks and people tracks and everything else. Hasn't been freshened up for a bit. here's the new Wascana pool. Yes, indeed. Frosted foliage is wonderful in the sun. I could go down there to the lake, but that's the way I always go, so I'm going to stay up here. I haven't really walked by the new pool here recently. Bit of a view downtown there. And that's the college building, it's called, the original Regina College campus, part of the University of Regina. So here's the new pool building. That should open this spring. There's water slides that I walked by, but I doubt there's a path that way through the snow. I'll take a look at them right now. Porta potties always, something scenic to look at. It's a construction site. Well, if you look over there, you can see the new water slides. In the fall, before the snow came, I walked down by them. Dark Hall over here too. Back of it, it's not nearly as interesting as the front of it. Funny that. Credit Union building here. That's the lobby for Dark Hall, joint lobby space with the Credit Union building here. It was the partnership with the Credit Union that made possible the renovation of this whole building. There are people protesting this building. I don't know why. I do kind of, but there was nothing here but grass and some trees. And nothing special about it either. And by partnership with the credit union, the university was able to then keep that building, which probably would have been torn down eventually if they hadn't been able to renovate it. So I'm a fan, and I like the building. I didn't know how I felt about it originally, the design, but I actually quite like it. And in this light and the reflections, it looks quite cool. Yeah, there's no way to walk over there closer to the water slides. I have to go up here till I find another path. I don't want to traipse through the heavy snow. Oh, there's a pretty pines. Here's my path up here. So, I'll look back where we came from. Now we'll go down this way. Pretty again, with the sun shining through the frosted branches. Can't see a thing on the screen though, so if you say hi, I won't notice for a bit. Oh, it's bright. Very, very bright. Royal Saskatchewan Museum is over there. Hard to see through the trees, but trust me. Home to Scotty, the T-Rex, largest T-Rex ever found. out in East End. Well, not in East End, but close to East End in the Frenchman River Valley. I was there when they were digging him out. I have a credit on a documentary about him from that era. I don't remember what they called me, assistant director or something, because I did some interviews, off-camera interviews. I don't think I've ever even seen that documentary, but I remember doing it, but I don't think I ever saw the finished result. One of the many cool things I've done over the many years that are starting to pile up behind me. There you can see the museum a little better. Sun's gone behind the clouds, so that helps. And the lake, you can just sort of see it over there. Little battery. It's okay, I'll get home. Almost there, really. Oops. Albert Street is just up here. To my left is Speaker's Corner, which has some lampposts that came from the real Speaker's Corner in Hyde Park in England, or at least they came from Hyde Park. I'm going to take the crosswalk today instead of the tunnel. Here's Albert Street, main north-south drag through the city. And the Albert Street Bridge. There's the lampposts. And the lake. And the crosswalk, and all of a sudden it's muddy. It's all pristine back in there, and here it's all muddy. Maybe I'll go up Albert Street just to be different here, because I normally walk the other way. Yuck. Hello. Actually, I'm going to go this way because it's so muddy on slushy on Albert Street. I might get sprayed by cars going by. Or splattered, anyway. So now we're back where I would have finished up had I walked around the lake. Oh, I hit my head on the branch and got hoarfrost down the back of my neck. Refreshing, that's what that was. Very refreshing. Harrington Mews, where Wally Knight lives in my Shards of Excalibur series. It's a dead end down that way. Here is Angus Boulevard, which will take us to Angus Crescent. Well, take us to Leopold Crescent, and the alley will take us to Angus Crescent. That's the way it works. And then if you're going across Angus Crescent, one end of Angus Crescent connects to Angus Street. So it's all the same Angus, I'm sure. Probably some city council or something. I should know, but I don't off the top of my head. There were probably a lot of Anguses. There was a lot of Scottish people here. Angusi? What's the plural of Angus? Anguses, I know that. Angusi would be funny though. Angus, Angusi. Angusi, actually, if you're pronouncing Latin, I guess. It's harder work carrying the laptop all this way. Although back before I lost the 30 pounds I've lost, I guess I was carrying more weight than this when I walked around. That's not there anymore. I had lost 30 pounds. It's more like 25 now that Christmas is coming gone, but I'm working on knocking it back down again. I'd like to lose another 15 or thereabouts. 25 would be even better, but Margaret Ann says I don't look good if I get too skinny. I don't know how she knows. I don't get too skinny very often. But a few years ago, well, 20 years ago, I was briefly at about 190, but that certainly didn't last. And it slowly crept up, and I didn't pay attention to it, but this time I'm determined to keep it under control. Oof, oof. Slippery and slushy too. Davin School dead ahead, where my daughter went to high school. Not high school, elementary school. High school was Luther College High School, which I've walked by once or twice, but not recently. It's got out of the way. I should go over there because I haven't really walked over there since winter hit, and I should do it while there's snow around, and it's pretty. Here's our crescent. This house here was built by the architect Francis Portnell, who also did for himself. He also did Davin School that I just showed you, and he also did our house. A couple of doors down, 3 doors down, 4 doors down, wherever it is. I'd like to have a word with him if he were still alive about some of the design features in our house that didn't really work. But okay, we'll stop here. How long was that? 34 and about 18 to begin with, so within my usual sort of Friday walking distance. So thanks for walking with me. That's it for now. Don't know if I'll be back over the weekend. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not, but I will see you again.